Hey, 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 what is going on, YouTubeverse? John Stanek from Johnny Radio here, bringing you another tier list. And based on your vote, overwhelmingly, you too won this one. So we're going to do their whole album discography, 14 albums thus far. Who knows? Maybe they'll release more in the near future. Bono just released a book, his memoir, which I'm excited to check out. But in the meantime, let's not waste any time. Let's get right to this thing. I'm going to share my screen with you now, and we are going to get going in chronological order as always. So we're going to start with their debut album, Boy, which I'm going to go ahead and put in the C range. When YouTube first started, and I think they'll be the first to admit, they didn't really have their sound quite figured out. They wanted to be a little bit punk rock. They wanted to be a little bit new wave, and you can hear elements of that for sure. And this had the song "I Will Follow." I think that's definitely the standout here. There was a couple other good tracks, Electric Company, stuff like that, but nothing really great yet. They had some room to grow. And I'm going to go ahead and move on to October, their second album, and also put it in the same range. This one, I feel like they were kind of turning into more of what U2 was, their sound getting a little bit more anthemic, stadium rock, moving that direction. Although I can't really say there's any standout songs that jump to mind from this album. It's been a long time since I've listened to it, but yeah, you could tell they were kind of still forming their sound, but getting closer to what would be their first album that I'm going to put in the B range, which is War from 1983. This album is great. I mean, you've got Sunday, Bloody Sunday, you've got New Year's Day, 40. I mean, there's a lot of great stuff to love on here. I think 40 is on this album. Again, it's been a while since I've listened to this one as well. But yeah, very solid. Not quite an A, but definitely a big jump. And this really was the beginning, I think, of the classic U2 sound that we know and love. The great anthems, Bono really coming into his own vocally, and the Edge just becoming the MVP guitarist that that Edge sound was really coming into view here. So then the next album, The Unforgettable Fire, I'm also going to put in the B range, even though, man, Pride in the Name of Love, that is just a 10 out of 10. Amazing anthemic rock song about Martin Luther King Jr. And had some other highlights here, but overall, it's just not quite an A or S tier album. But this is the one that I feel like really put them on the map. I mean, Sunday Bloody Sunday, of course, War, a lot of people knew who they were, but at this point they were, global sensations, and leading up to what was to come next, which is, in my opinion, I'm skipping A and going straight for the S here with the Joshua Tree. I mean, we can all agree, man. I mean, just for the first three singles alone, come on, man. With or Without You, one of the greatest ballads of all time. Where the Streets Have No Name, one of the greatest album openers, and one of U2's best songs. I still haven't found what I'm looking for. Just an amazing take on gospel music that they made their own, and really set the template for this whole album, which is their love of Americana music. I could go on and on about this album, but I know we have others to get to here. But oh my gosh, man, this is just a near perfect masterpiece. And I think the one that was going to be hard to beat. But then the 90s came along, and what happened? Achtung Baby, and another S tier, man. This, I actually like Achtung a little bit better. I think this album is a perfect 10 out of 10. has my favorite song of all time, One. And I just that song, like, I don't know what it is, man, but I get teary every time I hear it. The perfect combination of the lyrics about unity and love, um, mixed with just that amazing chord progression on both the verse and the chorus. And it's such an unusual song because the chorus and the verse almost just flow into one another. And Bono's vocals never better. The edge just amazing on this whole album. I mean, guitar hero to say the least on songs like The Fly and Mysterious Ways. Oh my God, Mysterious Ways, I think, is one of the greatest pop songs of all time. And this is just every single song on here is fantastic. Again, I could go on and on about Achtung Baby, but I will hold back because we got more to get to here. We're not even halfway through the discography, but so a couple years later, they followed up Achtung with Zooropa. And, I'm tempted to put it in the B range because it's not bad in any by any means, but I'm actually going to put it in the C range because to me, this just isn't one that I go back to often to revisit. I mean, there's some cool stuff on here, like Numb and Lemon, like some interesting things, but it's it's kind of like a sequel to Octung Baby. The title even is related to it, and you can see in the album artwork they were going for and experimenting even that much more, but I feel like it didn't pay off the way it did with Octung, and it's just for me personally not one that I tend to revisit much. And oh gosh, I forgot about Rattle and Hum, man. I guess because I wasn't thinking, live albums. I'm thinking studio albums. But technically, Rattle and Hum, which was in between Joshua Tree and Octung, was both a live and studio album with songs like Desire, and Angel of Harlem. But yeah, forgot all about it. So man, I'm trying to think where I normally put this thing. And you know what? I think I'm going to put it in the B range. Because it has some cool stuff like Desire, I think, is an essential part of their discography. And the live stuff is really cool. Their cover of Helter Skelter, the I still haven't found what I'm looking for with the gospel singers, very cool. So yeah, Rattle and Hum gets a B from me. Sorry guys, it went a little out of order there, but you understand. I'm getting old, man. So where are we now? Zeropa. So now we're to pop. And pop, um, a lot of people wrote this off as like not good, and I think a lot of it had to do with the tour that was like a disaster that went with it. They spent too much money and didn't make it back. But I think pop is actually quite good. I'm going to put it in the B range, and I like it more than Zeropa. I feel like the experimentation did pay off on this one. Songs like Discotheque and Mofo, I think, are actually really cool. How they meld techno in with the other stuff, and then you also have rockers like Gone, which are really cool. There, it's a little all over the place, but in a good way. I really enjoy pop, and it is one that I do revisit from time to time. So now we're at All That You Can't Leave Behind, and I'm also going to put that in the B range. Interesting that most of these are going to be B, I guess. But yeah, I mean, this is a solid album. For a lot of people, viewed it as a comeback after pop. Um, I feel like it was just really good. U2, kind of them trying to recreate a little bit of that Joshua Tree anthemic sound that everyone knows them for. Beautiful Day, Stuck in a Moment You Can't Get Out of, and Walk On. Those kind of anthemic songs. But also, there's some gems toward the end of the album as well, like In a Little While and stuff like that. There's really not a weak track on here, but not quite an A to me. So from here, we have How to Dismantle an Atomic Bomb. Now, this one I feel like was a little step down. Um, I wasn't huge on Vertigo. I thought that track was a bit overhyped as far as rockers go. There was some other okay songs like City of Blinding Lights and things like that, but um, nothing really stood out to me on this album. I feel like U2 was more just kind of going through the motions, honestly, and that's why I put it in the C range. Not one I tend to revisit much. So from there, we have No Line on the Horizon, which I feel was a bounce back. Almost want to put it in the A range because this is one that I tend to come back to a lot. I really love the title track, the opener. There's a lot of other really cool songs that I feel like are this whole album I feel like was very underrated. It was almost like a little bit, there was a lot of nods to Achtung in the way that they recorded these songs. I felt like Adam Clayton was kind of back rounding out the bass sound in a big way on some of these rock songs like Get on Your Boots and uh, stuff like that. But there's also some really cool slower songs like Moment of Surrender, I think is an amazing ballad. Um, Magnificent, I think, is a great track, which really is just classic U2, but also kind of pushing forward. And Cedars of Lebanon, I think, is a really cool way to close the album as well, almost like poetry by Bono here. So yeah, as you can see, mostly B's with some C's here as well. U2 just a little all over the map, and with a couple S's, of course. But now we come to the most recent stuff and songs, uh, not of experience. I can't even remember the name of this one. Songs of Innocence really rubbed me and I think most people the wrong way, the way that they rolled it out, especially with the putting it on everyone's phone with that had Apple products. Uh, a very lame thing to do and a very lame album artwork as well. Like I know what they were going for, but uh they could have done better in so many ways. And then the music itself, there's truly not a standout on here. I mean, with all that aside, um this was definitely their weakest offering, sadly. And I don't want to say that, U2 in their older age starting to become irrelevant. I think they're always going to sell out stadiums no matter what they do, if not just for those two albums at the top alone. But um, Songs of Experience was a little better than Songs of Innocence, but not quite. I'm going to put it in the C range. Again, and not a whole lot of things to stand out here. It was not quite as weak as that one. I couldn't say it was bad, but not great. And and that's it, man. That's my U2 discography tier list. So let me know what you think. Let me know, would you have more in the S range or more in the A range? Was I a little too hard on the guys? I'm just being honest, man. That's my tier list. Not every album can be a winner, especially when you have 14 albums and so many hits through, at this point, what they came on the scene in the late 70s. So man, you're talking about 6 decades into a career at this point. So nothing to sneeze at, folks. U2, one of the best rock bands of all time. They always will be to me, just for Achtung and Joshua Tree alone. But hoping they do put out some more music in the future. I hope they didn't, give up after the whole Songs of Innocence and Experience thing. I feel like they have a lot more to offer. Bono obviously can still sing like no other. He just recently did a version of With or Without You, doing a reading from his memoir, which was really beautiful, man. Like it gave a whole new perspective to that song. If you haven't checked it out on YouTube, please do, because it will brighten your day and give like a whole new meaning to With or Without You when you listen to it, which is really cool. So guys, thank you so much again. Let me know in the comments below what you think. What should I do a tier list of next, or who, which band, which artist? And also don't forget to vote today. Get out there, do your duty. And guys, we got so much more. Top fives every Friday, album reviews, you name it, big countdowns in the midst of, well, as of when I post this, the 90s countdown hasn't started yet, but it will be starting this week on Nathaniel's channel. So check that out. And guys, thank you. And as always, Viva La Vinyl. So guys, thanks so much for watching. Please like, subscribe, and be sure to ring the bell for notifications so you can always see great quality content like you're seeing on the screen right now. Thank you so much for supporting Johnny Radio, and I'll see you soon.